back again, another ear exam. What is going on with your ears? Well, I'm glad to see you. I'm very glad to see you. As always, my disclaimer up front, I am a real physician, and I'm very happy to take care of you today. However, every information that I give you is secret self-care only, which is why we're whispering and talking softly, right? Because you and I have not met in the official meet space that is required in order to make official medical diagnosis or treatment, because everyone's different, right? And even though it's so wonderful that you and I can be here together in this place by ourselves and take care of you, we can't, nothing is can be official medical diagnosis or treatments, because the power of the internet to touch you and examine you only goes so far. Mm-hmm. You're right, telehealth is an option. We will have telehealth visits soon, you and I, but it's a little bit difficult for me to do psychic telehealth, which is what this would require. Yeah. All right, tell me what's going on. What's up with your ear? Okay. All right, yeah, that is a little weird. Yeah, I have no problem taking a look. Just get the old doctor bag out. I've told you 100 times about this bag, yeah, how my, how the philosophy of the black doctor bag, what it means to me. This is the bottom of my ear exam thingy. This is the top. It's already ready for you with a clean tip. And then my little bag. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look at these ears of yours. I'm beginning to think, with the frequency that you come back with ear stuff, that you just like getting ear exams. What other symptoms have you been having? Okay. Uh-huh. Any bleeding? Anything else oozing out of there? Hearing loss? Well, I mean, check that. Can you hear this sound? All right, I'm going to start over here. You close your eyes and tell me when you can hear it. All right, same thing the other side. This sound, can you hear this sound right next to your ear? All right, I'm going to start over here and come closer and you tell me. Close your eyes. Don't cheat. Okay. All right, well, let's take a look. Well, yeah, my soldiers, as you know, I have only done like I did my medical school in the civilian world, and everything after that was in the military. For the past 4 years, I've been doing military medicine, and yeah, all of my patients get a yearly audiology exam. Do you get that? That's where they make you put these headphones in, they do this annoying beeping. Yeah. When was your last audiology? Okay. Well, it's important for military people because shooting and things like that, you can damage your hearing and you got to track. And there's a lot of other exposure issues and you got to track that so that, in the military there's some exposures you can't help, right? Because, you're a soldier, it's your job to shoot things. Ideally, you are wearing your appropriate protective equipment, and so we can track and see and make sure people are wearing their protective equipment, but we will also check whether or not over long term, some of your service has caused you to have hearing problems that, we then need to pay you for. Yeah. Yeah, as a thank you for your, the sacrifice of your hearing. Exactly. Actually, one of the most common hearing related issues that I have with my soldiers tends to be tinnitus. Yeah, a lot of them get long-term tinnitus. I've had a lot of people who, after being blown up, they had tinnitus. Yeah. All right, let's get you. Don't distract me with interesting questions, you. Okay. So here in your ear, I'm just pulling gently on the back of your ear to open up your ear canal so that it's easy to scarring in the middle of the tympanic membrane from when you were little. Some people have frequent ear infections. Alright, let's take a look at the other side. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. If I think someone has an ear infection, I will switch between two of them. It's one on each side. Otherwise, it's not really worth doing. Yeah, because it's your same germs. So I would switch if I was worried. You know, exactly. One of the big things is, like you saw, I washed my hands when I came in, right? It's the most important thing. Before I even start talking. Usually, exactly, that's what I always do, is before I even start talking to you, I'm washing my hands already. Alright, over here. Okay, same thing on this side. Trying to make sure that we don't have any bulging, we call it edema or exudate. Exudate is a good word, isn't it? I just want to make sure you don't have bulging of your tympanic membrane. I am looking to make sure there's no pus. Making sure there's clear visualization, everything is nice and white. Yep. And no scarring in the middle of the tympanic membrane. Or if there is, it doesn't look like there's an injury. The membrane's intact. Yep. Yeah. Your ear looks good. I think so. I do. Let's throw this away now. Yep. No, not the whole thing, silly. Just the cap from your, the disposable cap. Well, yeah, I have to throw that away. No, weirdo, you don't get to keep that as a souvenir. I'm kidding. Yeah, you can have it if you want. Are you doing a test on your earwax? Oh, that's interesting. You're doing an experiment. Yeah, you can keep it here. There you go. I've never ever had anyone ask me for their for the cap to their yeah, I've never had anyone ask me for that. You're still doing missions for the secret agency? Oh, you haven't joined the inner sanctum yet. Well, between you and me, down in the box next to you, yeah, that one down there, we call it the description. I don't know why we call it that, but yeah, down there, there's a link. There's what we call a link. Yeah, kind of like a comm link on Star Wars. Yeah, so that you can get the relaxation club part of the secret agency. Oh yeah, you get weekly missions too. Yeah. Well, we're all here to make the world better. Yeah, I mean, I think that's why we exist. So your ears actually look really good to me. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Well, how about this? If you experience that again, yeah, I think that's a good plan. You're learning a lot, aren't you? You're studying all your... Is it because you wanted to become a doctor, or no, you're just interested in this stuff? Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a good assessment. I think it's reasonable. I don't mind checking. So, as long as your hearing hasn't changed, that's important. No signs of infection right now. Yeah, you had that ear infection back in the other video. Yeah. I know, I don't know why we call them videos. Well, probably because the secret agency is recording everything. Yeah. Well, for safety. It also means that I don't have to, get paid by notes. I think that's the worst thing about the current, Western medical system, is they pay us based on what our notes say, right? So somebody who's not a very good writer is going to have problems, even if they're a fantastic doctor. Yeah. Or someone who's overly thorough isn't going to be able to finish them all in time. Yeah, no, I think it makes much more sense to be paid by whether or not the patient's actually, what we did for the patient, and then maybe a bonus for did the patient get better. Because, you don't pay your mechanic by what your mechanic notes they did, do you? Did my car get better or not? Oh, I guess you're right. Mechanic bills nowadays are like long lists of what they say they did. Yeah. Well, another thing is that medical records are supposed to be for the physician so that we can, if there's problems, we can figure out what went wrong, what's going on, and how we can help you. Yeah. Well, and I use it because it's like if we're still investigating something, I want to see what I already learned, right? What was the previous thing that we were looking through? Yeah, exactly. Like in the past, what was it? Yeah. Well, because, for example, if we're still investigating what's going on with you, I want to have notes that say, oh, I already did this, this, and this, and this is what I found. These are the symptoms that the person had, all that good information. So, but the nice thing about recording it is we have that information. Yeah. Yeah, there's a scribe within the secret agency who goes through the videos and makes sure to transcribe everything. Yep. Exactly. That way we don't miss anything, too. And then also it's not just my word, which is an issue with the notes. So the scribe for me also makes a Cliff Notes version of the notes too to scan through. But I like having the complete record instead of just my side of the story. Yeah, I think that's good. And then for myself, I would scribble down a little bit of something just for me. But I really like having the complete transcription of what happened. Yeah, and obviously according to HIPAA, that information can't be shared. That's your private medical recordings. Yeah, that's how we do it at the secret agency. I wish that was how it was done out in the world, but that is not how it is done. Yeah. Well, let me get out of this. Let's go read. I know we were going to read a book together today, right? Yeah. Sounds good to me. We'll just keep an eye on it. I think that sounds good. Well, of course, I'm not dumb. I know that you like ear exams. And it's okay. It's okay to like ear exams. As long as you're not weird about it. Of course. Hey, if you could be any animal, what animal would you want to be? I was thinking an elephant because you like ear exams so much. And then I could just, stroke your giant big ears while I look at them to see if there's anything wrong with them. Your giant big elephant ears, like all the way from the top, all the way down. Like, 'cause they'd be big, so like all the way down your ears. And all the way down your ears. Here is a fun medical fact. Do you know what you're supposed to do if you have an obese patient who's above 500 pounds and won't fit in the MRI machine, but you need to make sure that you take care of them and do a good job by their help? Do you know what you're supposed to do? So they actually taught us in medical school you're supposed to call the veterinarian and use, because they always have MRI machines for big animals at the local zoo. I am not joking. That is a real thing. Because it doesn't matter what size somebody is. It doesn't matter what's going on. I got to take care of them and I got to find a way. And if I have to kick an elephant off the table, I will do it. No, that's for real. Yeah, this has been Weird Medical Facts with Jen Finelli. But seriously, I think we'll watch. I'm going to give you some reading to do regarding ears. So this is the U.S. Army Special Forces Medical Handbook. And actually, there are, this is for medics. This is like what I would give my medic. But it's got just so great stuff. And you know what the best line in here is? No, you're limited. first thou shalt do no harm, and seek the assistance of more competent medical authority whenever possible. Right? That applies to all of us. So if I'm in the middle of nowhere, I might take more risks than I would, to help somebody out than I am if I have, a great resource nearby. I'm always going to try to get the person the best resource available. Yeah, exactly. And also always try to do what's the best for the person. So if it's going to be better for me to take care of them because I'm good at it, and it's going to be cheaper if I do it, and then I'm going to do it. But if I never consider it like giving the patient up. I consider it like I am taking care of them by getting them the best specialist. Yeah. Because even if we're not a team and the specialist doesn't like me or want to work with me, it's still their job to take care of this person. So in my mind, then they're like a tool in my toolbox. Yeah, like I take the patient and I get them here's this, HENT specialist for you. Here's this cardiologist for you. Well, obviously it's best to have a PCM or generalist who can manage everything, so you're not getting like a bunch of heart medications over here that are interacting with your ear medications that are interacting with these things, and nobody's checking all of it. That's why, you gotta have a PCM to make sure everything's integrated. Really, your PCM should be taking care of most of your problems. But then every now and then, in order to take care of you, they're gonna need to use somebody else's expertise. Yeah, kind of phone a friend. Yeah. But anyway, this, I wanted to get you some reading in here. This section, page 133, ear, eye, ear, nose, and throat. I think that you should look into this for homework, since ears is something you're interested in. Ear disorders. I think that I'd like you to do the reading from external otitis through otitis media. Otitis media is your normal ear infections that people get. External otitis is when you get some inflammation or stuff on the outside part, like the ear canal and the outside part. And then diseases of the inner ear, that's things like vertigo, Meniere's disease. I'd like you to read through that too. So it's very short. It's only 3 pages of reading, but I think that you should do it. Yeah, since you're interested in the ear, stuff that we can look into. Okay, but you and I were going to do fun reading, right? We were going to chill now, since it's off-duty hours. It's off-duty time. Well, would you like with pictures or without pictures? I have this version with pictures. These really cool superhero comic pictures. These pictures are by Annie Chen. This is Sky. He's the comic book character who decides to shoot his author because he's tired of all the bad stuff his author does to him. Here in the front, he's in our world and he's very angry and grumpy looking. This is Jace. He's the reader. He's a comic book fan. Yeah, I'll read to you from the back. Sky is the storm-tossed comic book character out for revenge on the author who murdered his family. Jace is the nerdy comic book fan trying to escape his father's deadly legacy. When their worlds collide, Jace must choose between the real world he's always hated and the comic book world he's always loved. And Sky must decide if killing his author will save his world or damn his soul. It's fun, huh? I also have the version without pictures, which is more gritty, because the pictures add a little bit of... So the pictures are... He's a comic book character, right? So he comes out of the book. So, for example... This is a pretty dramatic scene. This is Natasha. She's a thunder-powered superhero who changes his life. And these are her rings, actually, which is something that she designed herself. She's not a super genius. She's a normal kid who really applies herself. And at her physics internship, she came up with a clever way to basically create sonic boom in fashionable ring form. Yeah, for a while, actually there is a puzzle in the book. No one has solved it, and for a while the reward for solving the puzzle was to get the only copy of her rings in real life. Yeah. This is to date the hardest cipher in all of literature. Literally, it's been out for several years and nobody has solved it. Partly because it's a visual cipher. Let me see if I can find it. Try ordering room service. What page is it on? The speedster look relieved. Here we go. This is the cipher. Yeah, it's actually created by math PhD Daniel Weingard. And all of these different equations solved different words and things. Yeah. And this thing is how Jace, the reader, who's the roommate of the superhero, solves and figures out his identity, actually. Yeah. But no one has been able to do that. Yeah, because what happens is, from the comic, Sky comes out of the comic into the real world to take on his author after he's tired of all these bad things happening to people he cares about. You know what's a cool Easter egg too? Here is Sky and his best friend Mark and Natasha taking on Zeus. You know what's really cool is that in a lot of these big spreads, they have pictures of the people who were in the Kickstarter, the Indiegogo. This is Jackie. She's a speedster. The speedsters in this book are a little different. They actually have a genetic, it's an inherited genetic feature, and they all live in a speedster society, and then sometimes they come up to our world because it's underground. But our world is hard for them to live in because we're so slow, and it's really hard for them to go that slow. This is a big spread, right? And all the people at a certain tier of the Indiegogo are in it. Like, this is a character, this is a character, this is, like, these are all people from the Indiegogo. Him too. This is actually my mom and my aunt. And these two are actually not. These two are characters from the book. I made them, they're married to this guy who is from the Indiegogo. I didn't, this is the artist, Annie Chen. She put them all together. This is Tigress. I know, we don't want to miss the elephant in the room. This is Tigress. He is this is Sky. See, these are comic book stuff, and this is Jace, the reader, who most of the book is written in his point of view, because he has to decide whether or not to stop Sky from killing his author. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really, really cool. So some of it's, so the difference between this and the version without comics is that the places, instead of comics, it has text explaining what's happening in the comics. And that text tends to be a little grittier and darker. One of the reviews for the book was like, said that it's like darker than the darkest Batman novel he's ever, or comic he's ever read, graphic novel, but or is like as dark as, but that the art was kind of light and more cheery, but that ended up having an interesting effect. Yeah. So yeah, these are on these are actually this cover is actually gone now. This was the original print run of this, had this cover, and it's becoming Hero because it's a coming of age story for both of these young guys. Yeah. Well, exactly. The computer is whining. Is this a problem? Is this going to be a problem? I hope not. I hope the... Shh. Hey. Hey, you. Stop. Stop. You're not doing any work, even. There's only one thing plugged into you. Calm down. Are you getting too hot? Is this... Probably that's what's happening. We gotta take care of the little baby computer is getting too hot. Is that better? Put a book under you so that it's colder. Do you like that? I'll get you a good desk next time. Shh. We're reading. But yeah, this is an old print run. The new cover. This cover was actually designed by a gentleman. You can find him at vividfury.com, I think, who has designed covers for like Marvel and DC and other stuff like that. But the new cover is designed by Nathan Segala. He's the newest webcomic artist for the novel, for the series as well. The webcomic is kind of an opportunity for new artists to explore and get better at their art while making something from kind of cool established property. So the Patreon, actually, patreon.com/becominghero, actually helps to like pay like young webcomic artists, young artists as they're developing their skills so that they can take care of themselves. And especially like Nathan lives in an area of Uganda where he doesn't have a lot of access to things that he might need every day. Like every day is kind of a little bit of a struggle financially, and so the comic and teaching him, like letting him explore his skills and get better as he gets better at things like design and marketing and art itself. Kind of a way to kind of help him be able to support himself, because then even if the local economy isn't doing well, he can work online. Especially in things like marketing and design for companies. Yeah, so it's cool. The updated cover is what you see on Amazon. Like if you look on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all of those right now, if you search for Becoming Hero by Jen Finelli, obviously that's me. Well, yeah, I wasn't going to read you someone else's book. I was going to read you my book. Why would I read you someone else's book? This is my territory. Nobody else they're not sponsoring me. I'm a sponsor myself. Look, if you want some of like this, you gotta pay for it. I'm glad that you have a sense of humor too. You are really fun to hang out with. I will read you a little bit. Just a little bit, because really you need to go to bed. You have a big day ahead of you. Yeah. Well, and I don't want you to stay up too late. Yeah. Alright. Read a little bit. If you want more, let me know, and then I'll read you more. And we can do an ear exam first if you want. Alright. Oh, there's an audiobook also. It's not ASMR, but it exists. It's narrated by John Chrysalis and Austin Wilsey. John Chrysalis played Sky, and Austin Wilsey played Jace, the reader. And so most of it is narrated by Austin, and they both have since then actually won acting awards and things like that. So it's really like Becoming Hero has kind of been where a lot of people got their start. Yeah. Before going on and getting big awards and things like that. So it's kind of cool. Alright. So, Becoming Hero by Jen Finelli. For me, the beginning starts the first time I opened a comic book, and I knew I had to have that, be that, get in that somehow. But for you, it starts the first day I met Caleb. This is Chase. The day 10 guys with knives chased me down a shadowed street. My skinny legs burned, my lungs wheezed as sweat popped across my forehead. Bitter voices shouted curses about my dad. Crap. So who? My head turned for a better look. Bad move. My gray sneakers skidded across the pavement. I tried to catch my balance. My knee impacted the unfinished gravel-strewn sidewalk. I rolled over, scrambling on my butt as my fastest attacker stumbled into me. His creepy, gangstified Looney Tunes t-shirt loomed over me as my attacker fell, suffocating me with Bugs Bunny's cotton smirk. I imagined the cartoon rabbit twirling that bling around his finger. What's up, Doc? You thought you could outrun us? I gagged as a hand landed on my neck. Hey, Jerome. I choked at the one person I recognized, my pissed-off classmate standing a few feet behind the massive human on my throat. Who's the Colossus? Colossus didn't take the compliment. Jerome don't answer to you, he answers to me. He lifted me by the throat like Vader. Wonderful, always wanted to have something in common with Captain Antilles. And he told me who your daddy is. Haha, well, you sure you believe Jerome? I normally avoid the sass. Sass is a one-way ticket to the Ville where they serve your butt and only your butt on a shiny silver platter. But I had to talk them away from my dad, and if it meant a whooping from Jerome tomorrow, that was a whole lot better than a stabbing from his boss today. You know Jerome's lied to you about how much product he pushes at school, right? Is that what they called it? Product? No, he hasn't. Okay, but he's lying about my dad. I don't have one of those. What's a dad even? You trying to get smart with me? The grip of the Colossus tightened on my neck, and my eyes bulged with the oh gosh, where the air at. Note to self, Grip of the Colossus sounds like a sweet book title. No, I really don't know what a father is, I wheezed. Mine's too busy to play that game. I'm not your shrink boy, Colossus smirked. Could be your surgeon if you want, though. He drew his knife. From the looks of him, he was the only one whose mama told him not to run with sharp-pointing objects. Everyone else had theirs out already. We're going to write a little message to your old man, and you get to be the postcard. Well, crap. I bit down to hold my mouth shut. The writing was on the wall, and soon to be on my skin, so if this had to happen, I wouldn't make it fun for them. Please don't whine, please don't cry, please don't say any freaking thing. You got anything else to share, smart guy? Nope, nothing. Silence was my weapon. I pursed my lips and ground my teeth as they held me down, and all I could think about was, Jerome, this guy's standing right here, blade over my arm, like this guy was in my class. We grew up in the same neighborhood, almost the same street. So like what chain of events ended with him becoming that guy and me becoming this guy at opposite ends of the knife? The first blade nicked my forearm. I managed not to scream. Enter the hurricane. It wasn't much of a meeting, actually, more a series of bone-crushing splinter sounds and screams as I watched in HD clarity while a ripped Asian-looking kid tore Bugs Bunny off me and hurled him into the others. Colossus never had a chance to get back up. The new kid pounced, Batman backpack swinging on his shoulders with the intensity of his punches. He whirled to take out 2 or 3 sets of knees behind it with one nasty roundhouse kick, and leapt like a bolt of lightning from person to person, jerking someone's joints the wrong way each time he left them. Welp. Colossus' wallet peeped out of his back pocket. ID is the key, Dad would say in his corny way. He wasn't wrong. I scrambled forward, yanking out the wallet, and dashed back, pocketing the leather bulge with my heart pounding and my breath held. I knew I looked as suspicious as a 4-year-old alone in a candy aisle, but thankfully no one cared about me. Me and my pocket full of justice. Also a good book title, by the way, but Jace isn't thinking about that right now. The stranger cleaned up. Knives zinged through the air to clang against the nearest telephone pole, all missing the hurricane. The scent of urine stung the air. Someone had pissed his pants. Someone else screamed a threat. Backpack dude interrupted with a foot in the face. When I blinked, we were alone. New guy stood over me, hand outstretched, reeking of banana peels and park benches. Hey, he said, yanking me to my feet. I'm Caleb. Hey, Caleb, I'm Jace. Jace like Jason? Yeah, but spelled like the sun in the expanded Star Wars universe, not like the second Robin. He was the first person I'd met outside of the comic shop who got the reference. The son of the rogue, instead of the rogue son. His wicked grin softened. You okay? He glanced down at my forearm. I looked and regretted it. I didn't think I was frightened by blood. It wasn't much, just a scratch, just dizziness swept my forehead. My whole body felt weak because, holy crap, they almost flayed me because of my dad. I opened my mouth to say nothing. Is that a no? He asked. I swallowed. I wouldn't make it fun for them. If I wasn't scared, they couldn't scare my dad, and they lost. But I wanted them to scare Dad. I wanted to get out of here, of this stupid neighborhood and this stupid high school where my stupid teacher, who I trusted, let slip in class that I even had a dad, and stupid Jerome and stupid everyone who said I wasn't black enough because I was a nerd, as if the math in my brain somehow released neurotoxins that killed my melanocytes because that made sense. Oh wait, no it didn't. It really didn't. It's fine. I'm fine. It's just a scratch. I broke my gaze away from it to look Caleb in the face, noticing now the industrial bar piercing his right ear. Are you hungry? Because after that I could eat a bookshelf. Yeah. I haven't eaten in a while. His face colored a little. He meant a very long while. He wasn't from around here, and he wasn't dressed well enough to be a lost tourist. Not that we got tourists around here on the regs, but hey. So I pegged him as a runaway right away. From where? I wondered. Why a bookshelf? He asked. I like books, I shrugged, and pulled my hoodie up against his inquiring stare, and against the frigid wind tickling my hot cheeks. I said that really weird. I said that like, my hot cheeks. He doesn't mean it like that. Jace is a child. Jace is a teenager, and no. His cheeks are just warm from what happened. We'll try that again. The frigid wind tickling my hot cheeks. The more I say it, the worse it is. You can't whisper the word hot without it sounding, hot. Weird. Okay. Come on. I have stuff at home. And that's how I chose to bring a violent stranger into my house. And then the next section is Jace as well. So that's Jace. That's from Jace's point of view, what he's reading. And he goes on to talk about, this new guy, Caleb, moving into his house because his dad really likes the kid and starts to help him out. And then the next section is Sky's section. And it's, so the ebook version, because this physical version is like $50 to get with the print and everything. So, because it's a huge book, it's like 359 pages with comics in it. But the ebook version is like $5 or $4 or something like that. I think it's going to be 99 cents soon, actually. And that version, you can get the ebook version with comics in it or without. Either one. Yeah. But yeah, so then, and this is when Sky meets Natasha, and Natasha is a big reason that he wants to kill his author later on. And then Sky's story, so it goes back and forth between Jace's story as Jace is figuring out Caleb and who he is and why he gets freaked out about comic books. And then Sky's story is within the comic. It's kind of like flashbacks and kind of explaining why he gets freaked out about comic books. And then their worlds collide and blah, 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 adventures. And so that scene that I showed you, this is Jace later when he and Sky are doing adventures together. Sky and I both leapt to our feet as the people around us began to scream. Someone pulled a handgun. I have to explain this. They're in a restaurant. They're in an Italian restaurant. That's that scene that I showed you, the picture. They're in an Italian restaurant, and then suddenly, and Sky isn't the only one who's come out of the comic book either, because there's this bad guy, Tigress, who he's angry at the author because as a bad guy, like, he's screwed. He's always going to lose, and his motivations are like, he feels like he never had a chance. And the book is also about like free will and predestination and all these other things, but from a like fun teen dark adventure perspective. An enormous tawny shadow filled the restaurant as Tigress stepped through the door. Jace and I both Sky and I both leapt to our feet as the people around us began to scream. Someone pulled a handgun. No, don't shoot, it's the hero tiger from the news, screamed someone else. Because Tigress has discovered if he comes out of the comic book, he can rewrite his script, and now he can be a hero in the real world. And then he'll win. He doesn't really want to be a hero, he just wants to win and not lose. He doesn't really care about people. He likes to eat people. But if he can become a hero, then, he can feel better about himself. No, don't shoot, it's the hero tiger from the news, shouted someone else. Kill it, kill it. Is he bigger than he was before? I asked Sky. Tigers seemed to fill the room. A plate shattered by his front paw. He stepped over it without looking at it, creeping into the middle aisle, one paw at a time, eyes fixed on the sky. He's the son of the cop who shot you, the cat purred. Yeah, thanks. I'm aware. Sky's fingers tightened around his fork and knife. You two are natural enemies. Superhero, don't you know the reader drives the choices the writers make? He is responsible for the losses you're so angry about. So reader, why shouldn't the character kill you too? After all, you said you'd killed him. I froze. I could imagine Sky's fork digging into my ribs, and then dang, I'd have a lame story to tell in heaven. Hey guys, I'm Jace. Oh, you died saving 2 babies from a fire? Don't mind me, I died over a comic book. See, this is where my friend ripped out my liver with a fork. I avoided eye contact and kept my mouth shut, admitting nothing. The tiger continued monologuing. Indeed, he said, you should thank me for what I'm about to do. You see, Sky broke the #1 rule of bad guy monologues and interrupted. I'm tired of this, he growled, hurling a fork, then a knife, then a plate. Holy crap, calm down. You don't think I've had enough already without your furry ass coming down here? Go away. He kept throwing things, and the cat stuttered in confusion for a second, and I kind of backed away from Sky, like, hold on, man, you really got to be throwing silverware right now? Don't you have a gun or something? It's also funny and kind of tongue-in-cheek. The tiger roared, and the silverware stopped dead in the air, and then flew back at us. He's a psychic, telekinetic tiger. I know, because it's ridiculous comic book stuff. We ducked, plates shattered, and a strong-boned man in a chef hat ran out of the kitchen yelling, Hey, no, stop, no fighting in my restaurant. Sky and Tigress leapt for each other. You know what? I agree with the large Italian angry chef, I called. Italian? Sky yelled back, dodging a giant paw that knocked over 2 tables. He's clearly Chinese. Italian chef as in he makes Italian food, not as in he's... that's beside the point. I ducked as more silverware flew my way. We need to go outside. Way to undermine the guy's heritage, Jace, Sky said, sliding under the tiger now to get behind it. This is very silly because they're talking, then the book talks about this, like kind of tongue-in-cheek, like the talking while fighting, which is not really, well, I mean, I've sparred with people and been talking with them before, right? Like if you know someone really well at jiu-jitsu, you can have a conversation while you're rolling around with them, but this is a little bit ridiculous, right? And they're yelling back and forth and they're talking about a completely irrelevant thing. The guy in the chef hat in the picture was one of the Indiegogo patrons when this book first came out, and he liked to cook, and so he got to be in the book, and he's Chinese American. He got to be in the book as the Italian chef, right? Which was funny, and they kind of go through it. They have their little conversation, and then it's like silly adventure moments. We need to go outside. Meanwhile, Jace is the real world character, and he would like to focus on the fact that, hey, we're going to have massive property damage here. Let us leave, right? Way to undermine the guy's heritage, Jace, Sky said, sliding under the tiger now to get behind it. Yes, Jace, he's a person, not just some Italian chef, said the tiger, whirling after Sky. What is your name, culinary man? It's like it's ridiculous, up over the top. Seekong or James, said the chef. I go by either. He shook off the distraction. No, listen, you need to get out of my restaurant. Hey, watch that vase. I caught the vase before it fell, my heart rate rising in frustration now instead of panic. Sky was literally bouncing off the walls, and the tiger pounced after him, leaving claw marks and craters in the burgundy wallpaper. Someone's gonna get hurt, I shouted. Go outside. That's not how this works, Jace, Sky said, riding the tiger and yanking his handcuff chain around its throat. He's a villain. We give no ground. We struggle where we are until someone goes through a plate glass window. Yes, and then you start throwing cars and he takes hostages and you trash a whole city block. Man, I've seen movies before. Now can we skip that whole massive destruction bit for my world, please? I got one of the plates they threw and tried to place it gently on a table, patting it awkwardly as my eyes met the chef's, as if that one plate might make it better. Sky's body flew past me and slammed against the wall behind me as Tigress booked him. I'm the villain, Tigress choked, then laughed, recovering from Sky's hold. Look at yourself, hero. You shot a man. Yeah, and you eat people. Sky coughed, peeling himself off the wall as I helped him up. All right, we've established you're both terrible, I said. Let's go outside. Sky levitated. The tiger leapt. And anyway, the fight continues, but it's very exciting stuff, and it's a little bit funny and over the top, and this is Sky fighting the tiger. I love how she did this, just beautiful. So Annie's a professional artist, obviously, and this is what she does for a living, and she did just phenomenal, amazing stuff. I love how the tiger just kind of frames the whole page. Anyway, you should sleep now. Yep. I agree. Yeah. It does make more sense to go from the beginning, but you can hear the Austin Wilsey version. Sure. Yeah, I'll do that if you want. Alright. Well, I think that you need to get ready for bed. You have a big mission tomorrow, and you gotta be in tip-top form for it.